We are reading Bhagwat Geeta as it is by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of International Society for Krishna Consciousness. We are in chapter 2, text, I think, text 34. People will always speak of your infamy, and for a respectable person, dishonor is worse than death. Yes. Let's read the purport. Both as a friend and philosopher to Arjun, Lord Krishna now gives his final judgment regarding Arjun's refusal to fight. The Lord says, Arjun, if you leave the battlefield before the battle even begins, people will call you a coward. And if you think that people may call you bad names, but that you will save your life by fleeing the battlefield, then my advice is that you do better to die in the battle. For a respectable man like you, ill fame is worse than death. So you should not flee for fear of your life. Better to die in the battle. That will save you from the ill fame of misusing my friendship and from losing your prestige in the society. So, the final judgment of the Lord was for Arjun to die in the battle and not withdraw. Yes, this is quite clear. Let's move to text 35. The great generals who have highly esteemed your name and fame will think that you have left the battlefield out of fear only, and thus they will consider you insignificant. Let's read the purport. Lord Krishna, since Lord Krishna could see what are the different outcomes of the one action that a person can take, so he's explaining what will happen when you do so. Let's read the purport. Lord Krishna continued to give his verdict to Arjun. Do not, in quotes, do not think that the great generals like Duryodhan, Karna, and other contemporaries will think that you have left the battlefield out of compassion for your brothers and grandfather. They will think that you have left out of fear for your life, and thus their high estimation of your personality will go to hell. Let's read text 36. Your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful for you? Let's read the purport. Lord Krishna was astonished in the beginning at Arjun's uncalled for plea for compassion, and he described his compassion as befitting the non Aryans. Now, in so many words, he has proved his statements against Arjun's so called compassion. Yes. Let's move to text 37. O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up with determination and fight. Let's read the purport. Even though there was no certainty of victory for Arjun's side, he still had to fight. For even being killed there, he could be elevated into the heavenly planets. And that's the whole goal. We want to be elevated to Vaikunt. Yes, we want to leave this material world and be elevated to a spiritual world. Let's move to text 38. Do thou fight for the sake of fighting without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by so doing, you shall never incur sin. Yes. This is the very thing, the very essence of Bhagavad Gita, that whatever you are doing, keep doing without thinking of the result, without thinking of the success or failure. Keep doing. Yes. Let's read the purport. Lord Krishna now directly says that Arjun should fight for the sake of fighting because he desires the battle. There is no consideration of happiness or distress, profit or gain, victory or defeat in the activities of Krishna consciousness. That everything should be performed for the sake of Krishna is transcendental consciousness. So there is no reaction to material activities. He who acts for his own sense gratification, either in goodness or in passion, is subject to the reaction, good or bad. Yes? But he who has completely surrendered himself in the activities of Krishna consciousness is no longer obliged to anyone, nor is he a debtor to anyone, as one is in the ordinary course of activities. It is said in quotations, Bhagwat 11.5.41, anyone who has completely surrendered unto Krishna, Mukunda, giving up all other duties, is no longer a debtor, nor is he obliged to anyone, not the demigods, nor the sages, nor the people in general, nor kinsmen, nor humanity, nor forefathers. Quotes close. That is the indirect hint given by Krishna to Arjun in this verse, and the matter will be more clearly explained in the following verses. Yes. Let's move to text 39. Thus far, I have described this knowledge to you through analytical study. Now listen as I explain it in terms of working without fruitive results. O son of Pratha, when you act in such knowledge, you can free yourself from the bondage of works. Yes. Let's read the purport. According to the Nirukti or the Vedic dictionary Sankhya, Sankhya means that which describes things in detail, and Sankhya refers to the philosophy which describes the real nature of the soul. So there are two things, Sankhya and Sankhya. Okay. So Sankhya means which describes things in detail, and Sankhya means it describes the real nature of the soul. And yoga involves controlling the senses. Arjun's proposal not to fight was based on sense gratification. Yes, it was a sense gratification. How? Because he didn't want to kill his people out of compassion. He was feeling love for them. And because he was feeling love for them, and because by not killing them, it will only benefit him, as per, because he's thinking that way, it is a sense gratification that he's giving to himself, right? But he's not thinking of what others will go through if these are not killed in the battlefield. Forgetting his prime duty, he wanted to cease fighting because he thought that by not killing his relatives and kinsmen, he would be happier than by enjoying the kingdom after conquering his cousins and brothers, the sons of Dhritarashtra. In both ways, the basic principles were for sense gratification. Yes, you all agree now. Happiness derived from conquering them and happiness derived by seeing kinsmen alive are both on the basis of personal sense gratification, even at a sacrifice of wisdom and duty. Yes. Krishna therefore wanted to explain to Arjun that by killing the body of his grandfather, he would he would not be killing the soul proper. And he explained that all individual persons, including the Lord himself, are eternal individuals. They were individuals in the past, they are individuals in the present, and they will continue to remain individuals in the future because all of us are individual souls eternally. Yes, we simply change our bodily dress in different manners, but actually we keep our individuality even after liberation from the bondage of the material dress, that is, after death. An analytical study of the soul and the body has been very graphically explained by Lord Krishna. And this descriptive knowledge of the soul and the body from different angles of vision has been described here as Sankhya. Okay, Sankhya means description of the soul. In terms of the Nirukti dictionary, so there was a dictionary called Nirukti which was used in Vedic literature. Yeah. This Sankhya has nothing to do with the Sankhya philosophy of the atheist Kapila. Long before the impostor Kapila's Sankhya, the Sankhya's philosophy was expounded in the Srimad Bhagavatam by the true Lord Kapila, the incarnation of Lord Krishna, who explained it to his mother Devahuti. It is clearly explained by him that the Purush or the Supreme Lord is active and that he creates by looking over the Prakriti. This is so when God looks at Prakriti, material world, even by looking only, material world will develop. This is accepted in the Vedas and in the Gita. The description in the Vedas indicates that the Lord glanced over the Prakriti, yes, or nature, and impregnated it with atomic individual souls. Now, all these individuals are working in the material world for sense gratification and under the spell of the material energy. Yes, and under the spell of material energy, they are thinking of being enjoyers. This mentality is dragged to the last point of liberation when the living entity wants to become one with the Lord. This is the last snare of Maya or sense gratificatory illusion, and it is only after many, many births of such sense gratificatory activities that a great soul surrenders unto Vasudev, Lord Krishna, thereby fulfilling the search after the ultimate truth. Yes. So what we are trying to say that Maya is so powerful to defeat, and for us to defeat Maya, it requires a great amount of sacrifice. And the sacrifice for Arjun was to fight the battle. So the feeling that he has to conquer by fighting the battle was the last snare of Maya. And once he does that, he is sure to reach heavenly planets, right? And he is sure to have conquered and killed uh, all the illusion, all the sense gratification, everything, and he can now be fully uh, in surrender to the God. Yes. So remember one thing: the when we go through a lot of pain, when we go through a lot of um, uh, difficulties, accept those things because that will lead you to the next level, next step towards Vasudev. Yes, because you will surrender and you will get freed from other weaknesses. Yes. Arjun has already accepted Krishna as his spiritual master by surrendering himself unto him. Shishyaste ham shadi mam tvam prap- prapanam. Consequently, Krishna will now tell him how about the working process in Buddhi Yoga or Karma Yoga, or in other words, the practice of devotional service only for the sense gratification of the Lord. This Buddhi Yoga is clearly explained in chapter 10, verse 10, as being direct communion with the Lord, who is sitting as Paramatma in everyone's heart. This is basically listening to your heart. Yes. Why we say that? Because if in heart stays Paramatma. Yes, we are Atma and Paramatma is inside the Atma and they stay together. Okay, in the heart. But such communion, this company, does not take place without devotional service. Unless you surrender, unless you feel devoted to your Paramatma, this will not happen. Okay, you will never be able to reach God. One who is therefore situated in devotional or transcendental loving service to the Lord, or in the other words, in Krishna consciousness, attains to this stage of Buddhi Yoga by the special grace of Lord. The Lord says therefore that only to those who are always engaged in devotional service out of the transcendental love does he award the pure knowledge of devotion in love. Yes. When you are under the transcendental state of mind, you will be able to receive this knowledge. So, भगवान तो देना चाहता है, लेकिन आप ही रेडी नहीं हो तो कैसे मिलेगा, कैसे देंगे? ठीक है? In that way, the devotee can reach himself easily in the ever blissful kingdom of God. Thus, the Buddhi Yoga mentioned in this verse is the devotional service of the Lord, and the word Sankhya mentioned herein has nothing to do with the atheistic Sankhya Yoga enunciated by the impostor Kapil. One should not therefore misunderstand the Sankhya Yoga mentioned herein has any connection with the atheistic Sankhya. Nor did that philosophy have any influence during that time, nor would Lord Krishna care to mention such godless philosophical speculations. Correct. Real Sankhya philosophy is described by Lord Kapil in Srimad Bhagavatam, but even that Sankhya has nothing to do with the current topics. Here, Sankhya means analytical description of the body and the soul. Lord Krishna made an analytical description of the soul just to bring Arjun to the point of Buddhi Yoga or Bhakti Yoga. Therefore, Lord Krishna's Sankhya of Buddhi Yoga or Bhakti Yoga, Therefore, Lord Krishna's Sankhya and Lord Kapil's Sankhya is described in the Bhagavata, as described in the Bhagavata, are one and the same. Yes. They are all Bhakti. So Lord Krishna said, therefore, that only the less intelligent class of men make a distinction between Sankhya Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. Less intelligent. I mean, he's also being kind, Prabhupada, that he's calling them less intelligent and not fool. Yeah. Sankhya Yoga Prathak Balaha Pravadanti na Pandita. Of course, atheistic Sankhya Yoga has nothing to do with Bhakti Yoga. Yet the unintelligent claim that the atheistic Sankhya Yoga is referred to in the Bhagwat Geeta. Yes. So this clarity has now been given. One should therefore understand that Buddhi Yoga means to work in Krishna consciousness in the full bliss and knowledge of devotional service. One who works for the satisfaction of the Lord only, or for the satisfaction of the Paramatma only, however difficult such work may be. Yes, such works are always difficult because you're always procrastinating and things like that. So it is difficult to do. Is working under the principles of yoga and finds himself always in transcendental bliss. By such transcendental engagement, One achieves all transcendental understanding automatically by the grace of the Lord, and thus his liberation is complete in itself, without his making extraneous endeavors to acquire knowledge. Yes. There is much difference between work in Krishna consciousness and work for future results, especially in the matter of sense gratification for achieving results in terms of family or material happiness. Buddhi Yoga is therefore the transcendental quality of the work that we perform. Yes, so many a times we are always we are told to do something without explaining the reason. Like Arjun is being told to fight, but uh, and Arjun is therefore asking for the reason because of his philosophy and his thought of process. So likewise, we also question many people that why should I do this? Why should I get into this? We also speculate within our minds, why should I eat this? Why should I not eat that? I'm going to eat. But inside you know that this is going to hurt your body or this is going to be something. And also many a times it cannot be explained. It can only be experienced. And we never give it a chance because we don't know. We will never know until we do it, and once we do it we will experience it, and then we will know why it was done. So let's not ignore the things which we know are to be done and we know are good for us, but we don't know the basis why it is good for us. Yes, then let's not dismiss those things in our day-to-day lives. Yes. Let's move to text 40. In this endeavor, there is no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. Yes. Let's see the purport. Activity in Krishna consciousness or acting for the benefit of Krishna without expectation of sense gratification is the highest transcendental quality of work. Even a small beginning of such activity finds no impediment, nor can that small beginning be lost at any stage. Any work begun on the material plane has to be completed, has to be completed. Otherwise, the whole attempt becomes a failure. But any work begun in Krishna consciousness has a permanent effect, even though not finished. The performer of such work is therefore not at a loss even if his work in Krishna consciousness is incomplete. Yes. 1% done in Krishna consciousness bears permanent results. So that the next beginning is from the point of 2%, whereas in material activity, without 100% success, there's no profit. Ajamila performed his duty in some percentage of Krishna consciousness, but the result he enjoyed at the end was 100% by the grace of Lord. There is a nice verse in this connection in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.5.17. In quotes, if someone gives up his occupational duties and works in Krishna consciousness and then falls down on account of not completing his work, what loss is there on his part, and what can one gain if one performs his material activities perfectly? Or, as the Christians say, what profiteth a man if he gain the whole world, yet suffers the loss of his eternal soul? Yes, what's close? Material activities and their results end with the body. But work in Krishna consciousness carries a person again to the Krishna consciousness even after the loss of body. At least one is sure to have a chance in the next life of being born again as human being, either in the family of a great cultured Brahman or in a rich aristocratic family that will give one a further chance of elevation. That is the unique quality of work done in Krishna consciousness. Yes. Why we say like this, that we want to take birth in a family of Brahman or in a rich family. Rich family will have the means for you to attain higher level of spirituality, because once you are rich, the need for surviving a particular way of life is met. So now what is next? What is next left for you to do is elevation, elevating yourself in higher way. So by elevation, I don't mean elevate. I don't mean meditation or any spiritual activities or things like that, or puja and everything. By elevation means you are attempting to work in Krishna consciousness and carry out all those work that the Paramatma is telling you to do, being of service to Lord. So whatever Paramatma is giving you thoughts that do this, maybe you should do like this, and you keep doing. So you are the medium for Paramatma to do the right things. When you become that for the rest of your life, you are sure to reach heavenly planets. You are sure to attain a free liberation from this material world. Yes. So जब तक ये नहीं होगा, जब तक आप रिच नहीं है या आप सफिशिएंटली रिच नहीं है, तब तक आप सिर्फ अपने डे टू डे मीन्स को पूरा करने के लिए मेहनत करते रहेंगे, पूरा टाइम उसी में चला जाएगा। तो जब आप ऑलरेडी रिच फैमिली में पैदा होते हो, तो आपको अभी इस सब चीजों के बारे में सोचने की जरूरत नहीं है, तो आपके पास बहुत टाइम बचेगा और फिर आप ये सब कामों में अपना टाइम बिताओ, तो उससे आपका और एलिवेशन हो। यस। So let's end here with Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Let's do some Radha Jap. Radha, Shri Radha, Radha, Shri Radha, Radha, Shri Radha, Radha, Shri Radha.